Welcome to Crypto Trade. Welcome to Crypto Trade Setup live streaming. I'm Jolie. I am streaming live from Sydney, Australia. It's Monday, 31st of May, 2021. Today's discussions, I'll be looking at Bitcoin US dollar setup, Litecoin US dollar setup, and Ethereum US dollar, and EOS US dollars. Before we start, I would like to look at yesterday's setup and see what happened. Where did Bitcoin end up from the major levels that I indicated on both the short-term time frame and the medium to long-term time frame. So yesterday we had Bitcoin supported around 34,145. I think that's when I started the stream. We saw Bitcoin went up to 34,721, just another level above the major support at 34,145. Came down, retested again, 34,145 major support level, and then held on. I think it held on for about 2 hours before coming down, slipping below the 34,145 support level. So it went down, further down, actually passed through 33,623, and then made a turnaround from there. But then, you know, if we look at the daily chart that I talked about it yesterday, the major support level on the daily chart was around 33,395. So that's when the turnaround happened. Actually, Bitcoin came down and was supported around this major level here on the daily chart. As you can see that it actually bounced off. I think you can see that again on the 30 minutes time frame again. So the interesting part with these time frames that I'm looking at it, the 4-hour time frame and the 30 minutes time frame actually works well with the trade setup of the major levels, the support and resistance. You can see they are the same level. So, you know, when I have this type of setup, it's pretty very useful, and it's quite accurate. So as you can see on the daily chart, the daily candle actually bounced off at 33,395 and went up as far as 36,169, which is the same level that I pointed out yesterday. It appears the same thing on the 30 minutes. So you're basically looking at a very useful trade setup. You know, it bounces off at here, matches with the daily chart, and then same thing with the 30 minutes price chart. Wobbled around, try to test that level to push up, but didn't. Couple of times, I think 1, 2, 3, about 5 times in the 30 minutes, and then ended up we see this coming down again in today's session. So the long side, I haven't seen any signals yet. We most probably will be doing the same thing as what we saw yesterday with the 30 minutes at the daily time frame. There's another possibility that if we look at the previous action around here on the 30 minutes time frame, it actually bounces off here and head back up. So there's probably a chance in here, but at the moment there's nothing there. There's no sign of a reversal or anything. I like the reversal signals. As you can see, it's very clear here in yesterday's pullback. We had a couple of reverse signals here on the candlesticks before we got the green light there and took off. If you look at the 5 minutes, it was actually confirmations around the 34,145, which is above the moving average, 20 moving average line, and from there it had almost green all the way up to 35,654. So yesterday was a good day. I mean, if you're looking at the short-term opportunity, it's always there, but it's good to match the short-term chart with the longer time frame, so it will give you a better opportunity to ride those long trains. Another tool that I use is the volume cluster. This software actually gives you the actual analysis and the trade analysis on how things are looking at the trade in terms of the trade transaction, the buyers and the sellers. It also, you can look at as a candle price tick, or you can look at it as a line chart. So it's got a good option in there. And the other good part about this software, as I mentioned in yesterday's analysis, I'm able to drop the trade setup from the price chart straight into this order flow platform, and which will give me the opportunity to see the same level from the price chart and within the same thing in the order flow. This order flow thing that I'm looking at showing you right now is this is the 4-hour time frame. So as you can see, I'm watching the action in the shorter term time frame, which is the 5 minutes, but I'm also looking at the 4-hour time frame, which is it's a very reliable time frame in terms of looking at the short term and the long term. So yesterday's bounce is the same thing here on the 4-hour time frame. As you can see, the 34,145. In the 5 minutes chart and also on the 30 minutes chart, you got the green light from here. Look at this candle here, it's a reverse candle. It actually engulfed the whole previous 4-hour time frame, and it actually shot straight up. So if you're watching these, I mean, I can see straight away from here that this is a potential good reversal signal. So it's got the same thing that I'm watching here, and same thing is confirmed in the 30 minutes time frame, which is right here. So that's the 5 minutes. Let's have a look at what's happening in today. As I mentioned earlier, the trend hasn't changed yet. We're still running. We're still heading down. There's a possibility that we might see bounce off at this level here, but the next level, the major level, is now at 34,145. But I rather look at the 30 minutes and the 4-hour time frame, try to get the best entry points if I am to go long at somewhere around this level here. Another thing that I wanted to mention, the trend is still down. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet. I mean, even though we've been watching, there's a lot of bounce. Bitcoin has been trying to head up, but you can clearly see the trend is still down in the 30 minutes time frame. I've got these moving averages, 200 moving average. You've got the 500 moving average up there, and you've got the hundreds here, and I think this is the 50, and I've got 20 and 10. So the longer term time frame I think indicates that 40, 60, 56 is the major resistance level. I think I mentioned that yesterday, that this could potentially be the level that will confirm if there's a breakout to head back up. And if you look at the daily time frame, it actually points to the same level, and I think I talked about this level many times in my analysis. I've been pointing this out for the last 10 days since we had this drop, this huge drop from here to 29 or 28,908. I actually mentioned this level here on my analysis at Lincoln, and I shared with my followers up there. But yes, I mean, as you can see, the same thing that we watching in the 4 hours and the 30 minutes price chart. So it gives you some idea of some confirmation of the trend is still down. You've got the 200 moving average is still there, and I think it'll be ideal for prices to get above these 200 moving averages. So heading back up, crossing over above these, and probably the best point of reference for the reversal is around 46.56 if we can head back up there. The daily chart, the major levels at 333.95. I think if we fail to hold at that level, I think we could be looking at retesting 28.908. We'll have to wait and see how far, if it's going to hold at 333.95. Let's have a look at LTC US dollar. They all seem to be heading the same direction at the moment. I mean, and it's common when Bitcoin falls, the other cryptocurrency follow the same thing. But this is yesterday's events. Let me just drop a period separator to give us an idea of what happened yesterday. So this is yesterday's events. It fell from 160 and bounced off at 156. From there, it had the similar rally as Bitcoin. Got up to actually closed the price gap from yesterday's opening. Went up to 174 and wobbled a little bit about 174 and end up closing around that level. So today's session we just opened and it's just still heading down. Haven't found any support yet, but if there's any support, we could be looking at 160. This is in the 30 minutes. Let's see if we can find anything else similar in the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart is pointing to 154 as the major support, and the resistance is around 173. So if it's going to head back up, I think 173 is a good guess, and it probably needs to hold above that level to have a go at 182. It was interesting with the longer term time frame how you can easily track the trend and find a reasonable entry point. I pointed out this, as you can see all those arrows as I marked it here, I pointed out the potential reverse level about a week ago at this level when it came back and touched down this level here. So why I picked that level, I mean it's the same thing as the indicator pointed out here, that the major support, and you can see it was very active around this level here a couple of times before it took off. So it came back. I think I called out there's a potential reversal here on my analysis, and I think I based on the what's showing up in the indicator, and yeah, and it took off from there. They had a strong 4-hour candle with an engulf pattern here, which is consumed the previous H4 when it touched down in here. And then you had a green light all the way. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So almost about one whole day it was just actually taking off, and tested a little bit up at 170.73. But yeah, if you're looking at going long at Litecoin US dollar, I think you should be looking at around 154 to see if it's going to hold up there in the 4-hour chart. That will probably give it an edge if you find the support around that level 154. If it bounces off, reverses from 154, then probably we'll be looking at 173 as the next level to retest that level. So you can see that it's been tested how many times? 1, 2, 3. 3 times on the 4-hour candle before it dropped off from there. So I think this is quite reliable. I mean, we'll have a look, we'll monitor this, and we'll see how we go. Let's move on to Ethereum. Yesterday's activities, Ethereum, similar pattern, gap down, held on at the support level on the red line up here. I think it's 2236, which just enlarged it a little bit. Maybe I should change the color so I can see. Give it a bright red. There we go. So yeah, it's around 2238. So came back, bounced off at 2238 and shot straight up. Took out the 2391 support level, wobbled a little bit up there, and had a good run. Today's activities, we're still to find a reversal pattern from here. So it's been going down since dropping off the 230.91 major level. The interesting part with the same pattern we can see from the trade setup from the 4-hour time frame and the 30 minutes time frame, it actually matches up. It's the same thing. On the 4-hour time frame again, I had this channel placed about a week ago trying to find the bottom, and it worked out pretty well. I think he actually bounced off as I estimated the support level. So we had a massive reverse candle here around the 1839.25 major support level. So from there, it had how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it was a great run from here before it was actually pushed back down from this level up here to 791. So it's the same thing from the 30 minutes chart. As you can see, the last attempt to go up, we can see a reversal pattern from here. So it had 2 4-hour candles pushed above this major line here, which is in the red one, 2391, 2390, and now we could be heading down to retest the support level here again. So we'll be watching this closely to see whether if it's going to hold at this support level here at 2238. EOS, the H4, we're actually trading below 584. So the current level is below 584, and I think we'll probably attempt to hold above 584 if it's going to bounce off from here. So you can see this level has been tested twice recently, and potentially bounce off from here. I mean, if it's going to get back up there, but otherwise we could be looking at the other level down here, 547 and 517. 517 is a major level. As you can see, it's in line with the previous activities, the H4. The next level below, it's around 409, 410, and this is another level that I pointed out when it bounced off. So you can see I marked up those errors, and I mentioned that this could be a potential bounce back from here. But yeah, in the meantime, let's see how it's going to turn out on this level here that we're watching at 584. And yeah, you can see the same thing in the 30 minutes. So it's kind of like a bonus. I mean, if you're watching both transactions happening in 2 different time frames, but you can see the same level, so it makes it much easier for you to try and figure out and plan your trade. I mean, when are you going to try to get back and go long? As I mentioned, there's no signal yet, but let's wait and see what's going to happen. I'm starting to point out a little bit of a green light in there in the 30 minutes, but still below 584. So if we can get back up there and hang out above 584, we could potentially see another support that might hold, and we might see another run to 625. Actually, it's not doing pretty bad. I mean, you compare, if you look at the bottom of where it started off from the bounce, it's 409. And I think the same thing with the moving averages we're watching here, the 20 and the 500. As you can see, 500 looks pretty, I think, a reasonable point to look for in case it heads back up. See, it's been pushed back from this level here around the 500 MA. So that was his last attempt from this run that we had from 409. This was a great run, 409 all the way to 733. So you know, you got more than 50% run from there. It's a great run. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking at trying to get back, that could be a potential spot to watch out for. There's another tool that I use, and I think I mentioned yesterday, Fibonacci retracement. Can always apply that, and as you can see, it makes it much easier for you to try and find your bearings or your reference points. So you take the bottom and find the previous high and plot it. Well, that didn't work. So let me take it back from here to try and clear from the actual. The ideal reference for the Fib retracement is around 61.8. At the moment we're looking at around 50. But if you bounce off from there, I might have a look at that and compare that with the 4-hour time frame as well. But otherwise, I think this would be a good point around 517 to watch as well. If it's not going to hold at 584, we could be looking at 517 around this level here. So no signal yet with the reversal. Just a small green candle there. The 30 minutes, the next candle just started. So it'll be interesting to see whether it's going to get back up here. But I think it might have a go at 584. Let's have a look at the other ones and see whether what's happening. I think probably will be this in the same, running through the same trend. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin. And there you go, turning around a little bit, but I'd rather check this on the 30 minutes. So as mentioned before, looking at this level here at the 34,616, it'll be interesting to see if it's going to bounce from here. So it's in line with the previous pullback that we had from here. I'm kind of seeing something like a head and shoulder pattern here, but I'm not sure if this is qualified as a head and shoulder pattern. Head is a bit too short, or maybe the head should be around here. But it might be classified as a V-shape pattern. So yes, keep a close eye at this level here. And now we know that this is the 36,169. Is that the same level that we've been watching at the... Yes, the same level I've been watching at the daily chart as well. So that was yesterday's close Bitcoin. Yesterday's candle. So it bounced off at 33.95 and closed around 36,169. So I think this is the nearest point of reference to keep an eye for major resistance. Might need to break this and hold above this level before we consider looking at 406.56, which is up there. But yeah, I mean, if this is going to be a head and shoulder reversal pattern, so that's a shoulder, and this will be the head. That's another shoulder there. It normally, when this pattern occurs, the head and shoulder reverse pattern, it could potentially head back up to this level here, which is right there. So that will take us to 37,883. How does it match up with the daily? So 37,883 is around here. This setup has been very helpful. I mean, I use this setup for my daily analysis and my trade setups for futures. I think I'm going to do another live streaming later with what's happening with the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. So I trade them at the US session. And I find it's very easy to try to set up your trade and plan your trade, see which way. Sometimes it's take a bit of time for you to wait for your signals, and I think that's one of the toughest bit for traders, to have the patience to sit and wait for the right setup. And I think I mentioned yesterday on my analysis that having the order flow and watching the major transactions taking place gives you a rough idea of where the institutional traders are trading and their positions of trades. So you'll be able to see some abnormal quantities of trades, and it usually happen around reversal points, either from the top or to the bottom. And I think you don't want to be hanging out at the opposite side of where these guys place their trades, because you're going to be run over. So that's the best part about having the order flow It's called U clusters, YUCLUSTERS. And if you trade using Meta 4 and MetaTrader 5, I would suggest you have a look at it and check it out and see how it works. I mean, I found that's the best order flow software that I've come across so far. And you know, the additional bonus that I mentioned is I'm able to load my indicators straight into that software, which is a huge bonus. By the way, I'm seeing a green candle forming up here on Bitcoin US dollars around 34,721. But that's the 5 minutes. I'm waiting for this software to load up, and then I'll exit to the 30 minutes time frame to see what's happening there. There you go. So yeah, there's some progress in here on the 4-hour chart. As you can see, it has been pushing back up. I like the 30 minutes because it's I mean, if you wait for the 4-hour chart to complete, you know, you might miss out on the early entry level. So I'd like to look at the 30 minutes as well, 30 minutes and 5 minutes, to try to find a good entry point. As you can see here on the 30 minutes, we're forming looks like a reverse candle here. It's happening here. So far it's been green after bouncing off at 34,616. And I will presume that it's the same thing happening in other coins as well, because we know the king of crypto, when it moves, others will follow. Yeah, it's the same thing with Litecoin. It's forming a reverse pattern here. So if you're looking at trying to go long, I think you might want to look at placing your stops somewhere at the bottom here. But an ideal situation for this reversal is, I think, for this candle to complete the 30 minutes. And to close above the opening price of the previous candle. So the current support at 164, so you can see it's in line with yesterday's activities. So it tested that level after bouncing off, failed, came back, held on at this support level 155, and then we rallied all the way 174. So this level is quite, I think it's quite important at the moment to see what's going to happen here. If it holds here, then you know we might have another go at 169, 170. Otherwise, we could be looking at these two red lines here, 160 and 155. I like putting trend lines, and they're quite useful. I mean, they They're pretty active sometimes. It depends on how you look at it and how you use it. But I like to change the price chart into line charts so I can get a better. What I'm doing is I'm trying to look for all the active points on the price action and plot. So the more points I find, the better the chance, or the more accurate that I get for these trend lines. Why I'm putting this trend line here? Because I'm using this as a resistant trend line. So you can see that here we got that, hit that level, come back again, hit that level again, come back. So most probably we will have another go at that level again. And if you cut through that, then there's an opportunity that we might just continue further. But there's another way of looking at it, is to look at the highs and the lows of the prices. As you can see, we have here, you've got the highs there, we've got the lows here, you've got another low here. So we had high highs, high lows, and then all of a sudden we have just dropped all the way down here. So now we've got lower lows. If that's going to hold up here, where we're looking at, so we have an opportunity that you got a higher low here. So the next level we could be looking at here, having another go at that level 182. But we will wait and see what's going to happen at here. Ethereum, 30 minutes, looking interesting. 2297 is the current support that we're looking at. Major support down at 2238, which is the red line. Another way of looking at this this trend here is, as I mentioned, the trend lines. If you drop a trend line, you have a rough idea of where the trend is going to end. It helps you to place your stop loss and gives you enough time to get out. So you can see from here, from today's opening and when it started to fall, you can see exactly it failed on this trend line. It didn't hold at the trend line. So that's where we end up. But it's looking not too bad. I mean, you got a high low in there. So you got, this is your low. You got another low there. Again, you can still use the Fibonacci retracement level, which is one of my favorite tools. Fib retracement actually works on almost every time frame, any time frame that you look at. So this is a good one, 61.8. So it's sitting at a major retracement level at 61.8 right now. It's actually in line with 2297. So as I mentioned before, normally a normal retracement, normal pullback retracement normally bounce off at this level, 61.8. So now you've got a few things to compare and plan your trade with. What are the chances of this thing bouncing off from here? We've got a support level that it has bounced off from here. We are looking at a 30 minutes candle, reverse candle pattern happening in here, and it also an active spot that took place yesterday. So this layout, or this price structure that I have here with this trade setup that I have, you know, my theory and what I believe, how this setup was done is the greed and fear always drive demand to previous levels. So no matter what, it will always those factors will always drive prices to previous levels. I mean, it's a psychological game that you see people, when it reaches that level, you can see when it reaches the high, people don't want to get in there. You know, people are very cautious. When it comes down to the low, people wants to buy from there. But then sometimes, you know, how often do you find the right low? Either you catching the bottom, or you're getting in at the bottom, or you're catching a falling knife. But yes, this layout that I've got here, which is automated, this structure is based on that. And it's not necessary that prices will come back and test the previous lows in here. What I meant is these trading zones that's highlighted on the red. So you can see that the zones are actually repeated a couple of times. So this setup, or these trading zones, or these support and resistance level, will change once the indicator picks up another spot or picks up another level, depending on the patterns of the trading activities and other factors that are built into the indicator trying to. But you can see that, I mean, if I change the look backs bars, you'll be able to you will see different levels from the trade setup. So what I do is, what it does is actually you're trying to find the best setup for that particular time frame. But I mean, many cases I'll be able to find the same time frame or the same levels in different time frames, like the 30 minutes and the 4-hour time frame, or the daily time frame, which is exactly what we're seeing, the same thing in here with Bitcoin, looking at the 30 minutes and the daily. That reverse pattern is looking pretty well, looking pretty good. The Bitcoin 34616. Let's have a look at the shorter time frame, 5 minutes. We've got some green light in here. So everything is pointing to the right direction. As I mentioned, that I'd like to look at the 30 minutes and the 4 hours or a daily time frame to find entry points. Once I get that, I'm down to the 5 minutes or the 3 minutes to try and find those entry levels. And if it's aligned with that, if you look at here in the 30 minutes, you have some reverse patterns happening in here, that you can see that it tried to get up at 34,721 a couple of times, and finally we've got a green candle here, which is pointed out to a potential reverse pattern here. So the 5 minutes, we might find some resistance around here, 35,132, which is around where the 20 moving average line. As you can see, it's exactly where this 35,132 resistance level. I think I explained this yesterday. Major levels are the red ones, and the dotted lines in the middle are areas where expect prices to fluctuate. We either fluctuate here, head back up and break that level, or if it fails to hold in here, then we potentially be coming down to test this major level in the red one. So in comparison to yesterday's activities, failed here, and the red line, which is 34,145, the major support, came down. I mean, there's a way long down here at the next support, but it didn't pull back, so that was a strong indication that it just had a small dip in here, held up at this level here, and then we got back into business and had that magnificent run up there. So you can see these opportunities. I mean, if you're looking to trade both sides of the market, whether you want to go long or you want to go short, today was a good example. The opening level here, we can see that it fell below 35,654, and we got red line all the way down until we got bounced off at 34,721. So you had that opportunity to take the short positions. All the moving averages are pointing the same direction. It was red, and I think it was confirmed in the 30 minutes. Failed to hold there. Everything was red all the way. So you don't want to be setting up to go long, and when you see price has been kind of pushed back around this major level here, as indicated on the setup. So your ideal situation is you either take a short position if you prefer to take that, and a good setup for the shorts. As you can see that the market hasn't, the trend hasn't, the 30 minutes, the trend still is below the 200 moving average, and your chances of getting a short position, a short trade, is much higher compared to if you're trying to short above those major levels. I mean, trying to go long above those major levels. So from 34.16, we are trading at 34.903 at the moment. Bitcoin has been written off by lots of people, but I think crypto is here to stay. Crypto is not going anywhere, whether people like it or not. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. The only issue with crypto at the moment is the big boys have already gotten into the market, and these are the people that normally push the market to certain levels, and it's quite extreme, as you've seen recently what happened to the cryptos. But having a proper trade setup and understanding of how price action works, I think it's pretty helpful. And if you have the right tools, your chances of getting right is much higher than just going in by following the others who will tell you that, oh yeah, it's time to get in or it's time to get out. And as you can see from here, I mean, this setup is pretty done up nicely, and there's great opportunity for you to either get in or get out when things are heating up. And normally, if you understand price action, or if you have the right tools, you will see those things before it actually happen, and it's always there. A good example is here. If you look at this daily chart in here, and I think I talked about these levels. I've been pointing out these levels actually started from here at this level here. This is the same chart that I've been working on from all the way up to here, and I think it pulled back from here. And when it was hovering around this level, I pointed out this level. I mean, it's obvious that you can see that this is where it's been rejected many times to trying to get out. But as you can see, the beginning of the fall, it started off from here. It failed to hold in here. And I think another thing I wanted to mention that in trading, there's no chance of, or it probably depends on your style of trading, whether you're a long-term holder or you're a short-term trader. But for me, as a short-term trader, hope is not in part of my setup. Stop losses, entry points, take profit, yes, they are all part of the trading plan, but hope is not there. You will never survive as a trader if you have hope in your trade setup. Opportunity will always be there. You know, tomorrow will be another day. Some days, you know, if you don't feel like trading, if you don't see the right setup, don't trade. Wait for the right one. So this 30 minutes is has pulled back a little bit. As I mentioned before, the ideal is to see the 30 minutes to close this candlestick here to complete and close above that level there, 34,616. And as long as it holds above 34,616, closes above 34,616, I think this you have a better chance of looking at a reversal. So there we go. That's 130 minutes done. The next candle has just formed. There is another tip that I normally do on my, there's another tip that I want to share on what I do with my, if I'm looking for an entry point, looking for reverse patterns. I normally wait for the end of, towards the end of the 30 minutes candle. As you can see from here, I mean, if you have taken your entry around here, 30, when that candle price was up here, your chances now is you've on the downside at the moment. What I normally do is, I mean, if it's a strong reverse pattern, I normally watch towards the right to the end of the 30 minutes candle. If you know, you got obviously counting by minutes all the way to the seconds before that 30 minutes complete. So you can see exactly the same thing happening here on this 30 minutes candle here. Had a good opening level, went all the way up here, and towards the end of the 30 minutes candle came back and closed right here. So you know, it indicates that there's no strength on that price that we had went up there. Now we've got another 30 minutes has formed, and it's quite early, but we wait and see. So like I said, the 30 minutes, this level that we're watching at the moment, it'll be ideal to see that prices to close above that level. It'll be great if it opens and close higher above that, but if it's going to be going back as what we've seen in the past with this head and shoulder pattern, it will need to hold at that level, 34,616. Alright folks, I'm gonna log off shortly, and I hope this trade setup works out with what you're looking at, and the idea of looking for the right setup. The opportunity there to short was right from the beginning. It failed, rallied a little bit, came down, wobbled in here, dropped, and we haven't found the right spot for the entry yet. Attempted at this current level that we're watching, but still, so most probably we'll be heading down to have another go at 34,145 if it's not going to get up there. But or we're going to be heading down again to retest the 33,333.95. As you can see on the daily chart, it's kind of just holding about 34,616. Ethereum is doing the same thing. At 30 minutes, candle didn't hold, so you can see the closing price. Now it has dipped below that level, 22.97.20. Another level for retracement that I looked at is 88.60, 78.60, which is around 2238. So most of them has dropped off below the major support lines. We're looking at EOS at the moment, and it has fallen below 584, which is a major support line. Trend is still down, 30 minutes. Let's zoom out and see what else can we see in here. So if I'm going to place the use the Fibonacci retracement level from here, taking the lows, there's another thing I want to mention about using Fibonacci level. I normally use the actual closing price and the opening price only, not the wigs, not the tails. So either I switch the chart into line chart, or if I can see exactly or near where it closes, I'll use that point. But you can see from here. So the Fib retracement level in the 30 minutes is pointing to the current level, as we are still sitting at 50. But 61.8 is right here, just above 547. So most probably we'll be looking at 547 or 517 if it's not going to hold at the 50 level, 584. Alright folks, thanks for watching. You can subscribe to my channel and get your update with when is my next live setup. I'll be doing S&P 500, NASDAQ, futures later. I think I will try and again do that in the afternoon. And I did one yesterday with the setup, but I mentioned that I will be looking at doing the live. Yesterday's video was just recorded, but I'm trying to do the live one this afternoon, maybe before the European session. We'll see how we go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Cheers.